We are going to critique and improve your artwork as I promised. Okay, we have pigeons over here. So first of all, I want to ask you, what do you want to improve from this painting? I need to ask. Pigeon Roulette says, I want to improve shadows and where it goes and color mode. Shadow and color modes. You're in the right place here. Is this you? Bruh. So first of all, one thing that I always says to anyone watching and asking for critique is, what's the story? Important as hell. When you don't have a story, you kind of just confused as to what colors you want to use. Like for example, yeah, pigeon. I can say, oh, you just use this color. You just use this color like this. Boom, boom, boom. Like this. And then your artwork will be good. Just trust me. No, that is not telling the truth. In this portrait of a furry persona, what stories do you want to tell? Let me show you a furry drawing that I made. Anyways, pigeon, I introduce you to Channing Tatum as a furry. I see the resemblance, to be honest. It's actually insane. The reason why this color works, because we have a story. Channing Tatum is like, his face looks intimidating. We're going to make a drawing that is kind of personify Channing Tatum, okay? Their personality. Channing Tatum is kind of a rebel. This dark color is very intimidating. We show this orange light over here to show this, yeah, let's go, let's do some shit. But also this red light, this is to show like those intimidating factor. I even added some scars. Look at this. He goes through some shit. He fights some people. He goes on a fight. He doesn't care. He's energetic and shit. This is Channing Tatum. Channing Tatum. I can't believe in this stream we're talking about Channing Tatum as a furry. So, because you tell me that this is your persona, I want to know what your personality is like. This is pigeon, guys. Funny, I guess. And sometimes seductive. Oh, yeah. Okay. Are you as seductive as Channing Tatum? I don't know how I can paint seductive. I don't know. Let's see a reference of a seductive painting. Is this seductive enough? Is this you? Since you said this is seductive, we can do seductive element. I'm going to make it like nighttime with almost similar as the Channing Tatum artwork. But instead of energetic and spiritful, it's more like seductive. One of the things that I noticed is that your painting is way too soft. Did you use airbrush a lot? We want to show the fur. This is way too soft for a furry. There needs to be a fur, okay? So you can just use the soft texture brush and do this. Let me use this one. Boom. Boom. Boom, boom. See? It's a bit messy here. The sketch. If you're painting fur, you need to have a brush that's like showing texture. Don't be afraid to use brushes. I know some artists will say, you just need round brush. You just need round brush. You don't need the fancy brush. No, I need all the brushes. To add atmosphere to the painting, you just use multiply. Okay, multiply, if you can see it here. Okay, so multiply is actually just making the color darker, but with additions of the color that you pick. Okay, so here's the thing. I have the multiply layer here, and also the color of purple and blue. Why purple and blue? Because I want it to be at night and seductive. Okay, story is important. Okay, and so you just lock the transparency so that you can only paint on the characters like this, right? But you choose the multiply. Okay, and now you can paint a bit of desaturated purple. Boom. Now you have a night scene. Wait. A night scene. Look at this. Now it's already night. There's nothing changing from the background or lighting, but it's already night now. You see? Before, after. Before, after. Why do we pick blue multiply mode? Because we want to make it at night and seductive. Look at this. Look at this pigeon. Now, you know that you need to have a story. Now we can also support the background by making it night. Previously, this thing is like fiery, and like the fire inside you, like you are very pumped up. So it's like a bit of warm, like the color here, like the background is like a bit of orange. But now in here, because it's seductive, the color is going to be in here in blue. Okay? Boom. 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 This is why you watch RAS. Look at this. Boom. Boom. Now the color of the characters blends in with the background, right? Now it's night. Now it's more seductive, as you said. Now we want to make a lighting. We're going to have the lighting from the top, blue-ish. And also, I want to include like a bit of a reddish, seductive, pinkish color. Reddish, seductive, pinkish color from here. I don't know, just imagine it like some kind of sexy color lamp existing in here. I mean, with the moonlight from here. So first of all, let's fix the sketch because it's like messy. In case you didn't know, you can download my texture brush for free in the description below. And in case you haven't, pigeon. And so you can just like copy this, color pick this, and then lightly swipe, lightly swipe, boom. Because this thing, first of all, like look at this. This is way too soft. This thing is way too soft. Way too soft. Especially for a furry. So you just kind of like do this. Do this. Boom. 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 So color dodge is actually to add color. Light. Colored light. So the main layer that I use are actually just multiply and color dodge, okay? What about lighten? What about linear dodge? What about lighter color? It's basically the same, but like it's a bit difference in like calculation and how light the light should be added. If you choose a certain color, how difference. But it's basically the same. You add light color in here. I just used color dodge. But if you were to use everything, it's just kind of like too much. It's too much. Like I'm already stressed with college here. We're going to use color dodge, low light here, and just like glaze it. Like look at this, glaze it. Boom. 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 You can even just like make a selection like boom. Right? Boom, so that the lighting is way more sharp, way more sexy. Because you're sexy. Boom. Maybe in the shirt too. Boom. Boom. Now, excuse me, I'm going to continue the painting composition towards the bottom, right? As I said, you need to have a story. And when you have a story, you're going to have a real understanding of what composition you should use. Let's make the composition vertical. We want to show the characters to be we want the characters to be the main focus, right? Make it more darker over here. Boom. Let me tell you something. The difference between semi-realism and cartoon style, okay? Let's say we have a cube, right? If you want to paint cartoon style, you are gonna have a sketch. If you add a sketch, now your painting becomes more cartoonish. Especially if you shade it like this. Wait. You shade it like this. Right? This is cartoonish. Even though there's a bit of semi-realism aspect here. But if you want to have more painterly style, you need to have a blending that's like kind of rough and smooth, okay? For example, we have a texture brush here. You can just like copy this color, eyedrop it, and then move it like this. Let's change brush. Like this, boom. Maybe here. Boom. Color pick it again. Boom, boom. Color pick this. Boom, 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 boom. If you add more dark and light, this will look more semi-realistic. Now we're going to remove the line art, the sketch, so it looks even more painterly. Boom. Look at this. Look at this. Before, after. Before, after. Okay, this is by Frosset or / Achilles. First thing I noticed is that it feels like you have a story. It feels like you have a story. Based on like the colors you choose here, the crow, the characters, the bench, the leaf, the weed. You know, it feels like you already have a story you want in mind to be painted. But, there's always a but. I think one of the things that are most noticeable in your painting is your composition. So first of all, it is a bit awkward that your character is like here. That your character is in here. Meanwhile, you have like all this space to form a compositions, right? What I would do is that you extend the compositions over here. And then you can just like add something like this in here. Let me flip it. So compositions is actually a way for you to guide your viewer. See, now it's way more readable that the character is just like on the middle of the composition, and you just can fill out with the similar textures. Actually said, I see, that makes total sense. I can start with the white background behind the characters. You want to create contrast by making this brighter, right? This part brighter, and so you make this contrast, which is already a great thinking by you. One of the things that I also noticed is your characters look a bit awkward. Let me show you. So the problem is that I see is that I'm having difficulties reading the characters. Like, I know he's reading a book, right? I don't see the shape of like the arms. I know this is the arm, right? But it's kind of like missing. There needs to be some arm connecting over here and also over here. Let's try it. Paint, continuous painting with shadows over here to signify the crease. There is this crease over here, like this. This dark thing is going to be what makes the shape of the arm. And also your watermark. So right now your watermark is in the bottom, right? And it's kind of awkward. You can make it part of your compositions like here and make it white. Boom. You can even make it like textured a bit. Boom. Textured a bit, right? Watermark here. Maybe one thing that I think you could improve on is contrast. Since you put light on the background, you can put dark on the characters to make it pop, especially on the insides of the hair here. For the last touch, so this is actually the curve for you to like increase the contrast of your painting. This is the final touches of your painting. Look at this. Just look at this. Wow. Before, after. Before, after. That is genuinely insane. Especially if you added your logo as the finishing touches. Boom. It shows who made this artwork. That's actually insane. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys on the next live streams.